Sometimes we want so much, we never stop to think.
The album I'm going to be reviewing today is PushPush by Herbie Mann. This record has a gatefold jacket with a single pocket, and it has very snugly put a paper sleeve in there. PushPush is in stereo, and it runs just over 45 minutes long, and there's a bonus song that I don't actually have on this LP, but it does exist. The album artwork, including the shirtless image of Herbie Mann himself, was designed by Paula Bisacca, who also designed Duke Ellington's The Bethlehem Years in 1976. In here, there is a message to his fans, which starts out by thanking the other musicians who performed on this record. And then it says, P.S. Marvin Gaye's album, What's Going On, is the best album of the year. P.P.S. If all the priests, rabbis, and ministers had messages that were as believable and honest as the music of Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, and Marvin Gaye, and if they could sing as well, there would be a lot more love and a lot less hate in this world. Truly words I think we can all live by. Herbert was born on April 30th, 1930, and when he was just a small little Herb, he started on the clarinet, and then after spending some time in the army, moved on to jazz flute. Mr. Mann improvised nearly every line on every song. He did very little writing, and before recording, he would just talk about it with his bandmates. Herbie going full improv had his ups and downs. One of the ups was that he is listed on over 100 albums. One of the downs is that he is very inconsistent and he didn't have good chemistry with the bands he chose because he often chose to work with different musicians. And that's kind of evident in this album. Believe it or not, this particular album was supposed to be his magnum opus. It was supposed to be his breakout album. If you look at the rest of the artwork for his other 98 albums, they're nowhere close to as provocative or as eye-catching as this. I mean, this is some great stuff. The colors, it all matches, and it's very clean. Everything else is pretty simple. It's like a picture with a white background. This was supposed to be his My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, his Damn, his 2014 Forest Hills Drives. And after this didn't do as well, he kind of continued to just find his lane and do what he had been doing before. It's unfortunate because this album has some potential. Its biggest weakness, in my opinion, is that a lot of it feels repetitive. It feels like you can hear them figuring things out together. Literally, you can hear every little mistake and every little idea. And that's cool in certain circumstances and contexts, but not for an entire LP. And especially not one that you want to be your magnum opus. And the other aspect of that is that because this is his magnum opus, this is one of the 2 or 3 albums where he brings back the same band. And again, you gotta work with musicians more than once, more than twice even, to be able to work with them well. To do a quick review of all the tracks, PushPush is a 10-minute long song, 10 minutes and 6 seconds to be exact, and it sounds like the intro to a cop show. Upbeat, confident, and you can clearly hear the African and Black American influences. There are 2 solos with a guitar and a flute. What's Going On is kind of dreamy. It's like you're waking up from a nap, because by the end it's fully awake and you're able to dance to it. Spirit in the Dark, as I mentioned before, has a little call and response section between the electric piano, flute, and guitar that transitions into a cover of Aretha Franklin's Spirit in the Dark. Man's Hope is very gospel blues. Call and response again between the flute and piano, but that one reads more like a question and answer. That's a very clear thing, and that's really cool to hear. The rest of the song is the conclusion of the conversation. If is smooth jazz, and it feels like you're reminiscing about something kind of tragic or melancholy, and I also sampled it in the background song you're listening to now. Never Say Goodbye is very slow with minimal percussion. Seems sorrowful, like Herbie's giving us some kind of advice. What I Say is very upbeat, following a classic 12-bar blues format, and it features a guitar solo. The last bonus track, The Funky Nassau, I believe is how you pronounce it, is bossa nova with clear Latin influences, and it's okay. If you think too hard about this album, you can kind of see a little story arc where maybe he's in a club and he's able to convince someone to get with him or something. Maybe. But again, Herbie Man himself said he didn't put that much thought into it, so I probably shouldn't either. All in all, the song is very hard to sample. This was around the time when I felt like flutes were really popping off and I really wanted to sample a good 70s flute, and this album just didn't do that for me. Otherwise, it's a decent listen to. It's not something you should sit down and like think about. You can put it on the background while you're cooking or something though. That's all for this review. Thank you so much for watching. Click that like button, hit subscribe, and you guys have a good day. What I say is very upbeat, following a classic 12-bar blues format, and it features a guitar. Oh, damn.